Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'll be talking about 7 new fragrances in my collection that I think are worth checking out. Today I have a mix of Middle Eastern, some niche and luxury fragrances that I think you'll be very interested in, especially because most of them are new and underrated. If you know me and you watch my channel, you know that I love discovering new underrated perfumes to talk about with you guys. So without further ado, let's get this video started. Starting off with a Middle Eastern perfume. I recently attended the launch event in London for this perfume, and I'm talking about the newest from Paris Corner. This is Wowie under the Taskin collection. Now, if you watch my TikTok, you know that I have featured Wowie already as part of my top 3 Paris Corner releases when I went to Beauty World Dubai. And basically, guys, I haven't changed my mind because this fragrance is really good. Now, let me read you the notes first. So, it has orange mandarin, aldehydes, rum, cinnamon, iris, butter, tonka bean, and caramel. I basically get all those notes with the aldehydes being very prominent in the opening. I remember when I was in Dubai, I didn't really get citrus in this fragrance. However, now that I have it for a couple of days and also I've worn it a couple of times, I even used it on my last day in London, guys. And to me, now it is a citrusy kind of gourmand. Actually, orange is the most prominent note along with the butter, rum, tonka bean, and caramel. To me, this smells like an orange sponge cake infused with some rum, drizzled with a lot of caramel. Wowie turns out to be fluffy and cozy, especially in the final dry down. And let me just share that I completely changed my mind about how I smelled it before when I was in Dubai compared to how I am smelling it now that I have used it several times. When I was in Dubai, I described it more of like a milky, quite lactonic scent. I really didn't get citrus here to the point that I remember I even described it as like a Lactea Divina without the florals. And now I completely changed my mind. Even though this fragrance is still creamy, I don't find it to be like that lactonic. This is basically like, yeah, a fluffy orange sponge cake with loads of caramel, a sweet, cozy, sophisticated gourmand, guys. And I find it so beautiful. Apparently, it is duping Roja's Lost in Paris, and I've never smelled that fragrance. But out of curiosity, since I'm loving Wowie so much, I went to Harrods when I was in London to test it out. And guys, I recorded my reaction when I was in Harrods in my TikTok account because I find them quite similar. I think the OG Lost in Paris turns out to be more gourmand. So having said that, sweeter, not really fluffy, whereas Wowie is like a fluffier and kind of like airier version of that. I compare them side by side and I definitely get the similarity. However, I won't say that it is one-to-one. Wowie is definitely like a fresher, lighter, and airier take of Lost in Paris. Even though I still consider this fragrance as a gourmand, it has that very cozy and sophisticated vibe that I am actually loving a lot. It is a kind of gourmand that I can imagine wearing all year round. I mentioned that because the orange in here gave this fragrance like a freshness that will make it very wearable even if it's hot outside. And I love the fluffiness of this fragrance, especially in the final dry down. I highly recommend you checking out Wowie, guys, if the sound of an orange sponge cake infused with rum, drizzled with caramel sounds appealing to you. This is definitely gourmand, however, not cloying or not overly sweet. When it comes to performance, I would say it's above average. I wore it on my last day in London, and I was with a friend of mine, and she told me that she could smell me the entire day and that I smelled amazing. I could also smell myself the entire day. Wowie gave me a beautiful scent bubble, even though it's extremely cold, okay? Because for me, that's a plus as well. If a perfume lasts, if it's like wintry cold, and I'm talking about UK winter, okay? Having said that, I highly recommend you checking out Wowie by Paris Corner. It is already available in Aroma Concepts UK and US. I find this fragrance feminine leaning. All right, next up is something that is very new to me. I am very excited to try something from this brand as I've seen a lot of people talking about it. And I'm talking about the brand Les Eaux Primordial, and this fragrance is Ambre Supermassive. Now, I have high expectation from this fragrance because of all the nice or like good reviews that I heard about it. So first of all, let me read you the notes. It has cinnamon, peach, apple, pineapple, sesame, rum, honey, heliotrope, rose, cardamom, amber, vanilla, tobacco, saffron, and musk. To me, guys, this is a beautiful, cozy, slightly gourmand scent. This is a warm, spicy, fruity, ambery scent that I really enjoy wearing. It opens up as if like the peach, apple, and pineapple are drizzled with cinnamon and cardamom. So imagine those spiced fruits. The sesame, I will say, is not really prominent. However, I could tell that there is like some particular nuttiness from this fragrance, so I guess it is coming from the sesame. As this fragrance dries down, the soft and refined vanilla, saffron, amber, and tobacco grounded all those spices and fruit notes, giving this fragrance a cozy yet more solid base. There's something about this fragrance that is quite remarkable. I love the fact that the saffron in here is very smooth. I find saffron to be quite challenging, especially if it's in the opening of a fragrance. With Ambre Supermassive, it's in the base. Maybe that's why I didn't get like a blast of strong saffron. However, it is there in the final dry down, giving this fragrance that perfect amount of sensuality, especially combined with sweet vanilla musk and that golden amber. It is a beautiful everyday kind of amber scent, in my opinion. This is not a dark resinous amber kind of scent. This is more of like a cozy golden amber, spicy, fruity scent that smells rich. Actually, it's the texture of it. It is cozy and it's light and airy as well, considering that it has heavy notes like saffron and tobacco. The tobacco here is also almost not present, even though I know it's there. It's like a white tobacco to me, almost like a smoke, you know. It has that cold feel to it that I am truly enjoying. Plus, the nuttiness coming from the sesame, I think, gave this fragrance uniqueness. Overall, I am very happy with this fragrance. Projection, I would say, is moderate though. It lasted me around 4 to 6 hours. I'm liking Ambre Supermassive a lot, and I think if the idea of a spicy, dried fruits and golden amber sounds appealing to you, then you will definitely enjoy Ambre Supermassive as well. Once again, Ambre Supermassive by Les Eaux Primordial, and I find this fragrance unisex. All right, next up is something that I am very excited to tell you about because I've never heard anyone talk about this brand yet. Okay, so this is from the brand called Reservation, and the perfume that I have today is called Riviera Californienne. I chose this fragrance because of the name. Basically, Riviera and Californienne. So to me, it sounded like a combo of French Riviera and California, which are both like right up my alley. I've been to those destinations and I love them the same. So yeah, when I saw this Riviera California, I was so curious to check it out. So it has notes of sea notes, salt, citruses, Elemi Coffee, Immortelle, Amberwood, and Tonka Bean. And guys, it's like giving me two scenarios. One is having coffee right in front of French Riviera, and one is like sipping lemonade in front of Californian beach. Yeah, that's the vibe of Riviera Californienne. It's not my first time to smell something with coffee and lemon together. However, guys, I find this fragrance quite unique. There's something very cool about it, especially in the final dry down. And I mentioned cool, meaning like it's giving cool girl vibes. So having said that, it really has that California touch. I would say it has more of that California cool girl vibes than the French Riviera. The coffee in here is prominent, however, not overpowering. And if I can think of a fragrance that reminds me of it, I will say Awake by Acro. So imagine Awake by Acro, add some citrus and salty marine notes into it. Yeah. And then you're going to get Riviera Californienne. This is very well blended. In my opinion, there's no like screechiness considering it is quite citrusy as well. I love the fact that citrusy factor is just behind along with the salt and marine notes. This is more of like an aroma of a coffee. Such a beautiful fragrance, and I think this will be perfect for spring and summertime. I don't have anything like it in my collection, even though, as mentioned, I have tried a lot of coffee and lemon combined kind of scents. I find Riviera Californienne to be very well executed and very well blended. It's very smooth and refined to my nose, and it's definitely right up my alley. It is giving cool girl and clean aesthetic vibes. Yeah, that's how I'm gonna describe it. And I love this fragrance. I will say I love it because I find it quite unique, and I highly recommend you checking this one out. Now, when it comes to performance, I will say that it lasts long. However, the projection is just moderate. This fragrance really lingers on clothes, as the pajama that I was wearing when I sprayed it on still smelled like Riviera California. And I highly recommend you checking this one out, guys, especially if you think we have the same taste. Now, I got these two fragrances from the website called Fragrance Passion, and I think they deliver in Europe and UK. I recommend you checking that website out as well because they carry a lot of niche brands that you might be interested about. All right, next up is the newest release of Chabot, and this is CAramelito. Now, I love how Chabot does their gourmands because they do it quite friendly. I mentioned friendly because they do their gourmands light, airy, and not cloying. Now, CAramelito has caramel, of course, cocoa butter, milk chocolate, licorice extract, vanilla, benzoin, tonka bean, and musk. I would say the licorice is very prominent in here in the opening, along with the caramel and cocoa butter. However, as this fragrance dries down, this is all about caramel, cocoa butter, tonka bean, and vanilla. Even the milk chocolate is not that prominent to me in the final dry down. I get it more in like the first 10 minutes. The final dry down of this is very buttery. Imagine a caramel and cocoa butter that feels very cozy. The vanilla and musk that they use here is like the vanilla and musk that they use in a lot of their fragrances. So having said that, sweet but not too thick. It is more of like a clean smelling vanilla and musk. And I love it because it grounded this fragrance into this very wearable caramel scent. Once again, this is CAramelito by Chabot, and I love how this fragrance lingers on the skin. This is all about caramel, vanilla, musk, tonka bean, and cocoa butter. It feels like a body butter on the skin, guys. I highly recommend it. Projection, though, I will say is quite moderate. Once again, CAramelito by Chabot, and I find this fragrance feminine leaning. Next up is another new brand in my collection. This is a brand called Librairie Paris, and this perfume is called Ambert Sunset. Now, this is my scent of the day, by the way. So it has apricot, saffron, osmanthus, rose, iris, jasmine, leather, amber, and sandalwood. Now this opens up with that heavy saffron and iris. And I picked up like a lipsticky kind of iris along with that sensual saffron. So having said that, quite spicy, especially the osmanthus as well in the opening gave it that spiciness as well. I notice every time a saffron and osmanthus are together, it gives that sharp opening. However, guys, as this fragrance dries down, the sensual golden amber, slightly animalic leather, along with some florals in the background, peek through, and yeah, makes it quite remarkable for me. I'll be honest with you, when I sprayed this on, I was somehow taken back to a rooftop bar in Marrakesh. And I've been to Marrakesh last month for my birthday week, and it definitely gave me the vibes. And why did I say that? Because the spices and leather in here are quite prominent. So it definitely reminds me of like the souk market in Marrakesh, you know, the markets that are selling authentic real leathers, and you know, on the opposite side there are lots of spices. It's definitely giving that vibe, plus some florals, and I'm talking about rose and jasmine. So I can imagine the flowers in the rooftop bar where we were having drinks while watching sunset. This is a beautiful fragrance, very niche and quite remarkable to me. Now, even though it is more of like an amber dominant fragrance, I would say this is a kind of amber for summer. There's something about it that is giving summer vibes to me. I don't know why. It's like watching sunset in a summery destination. It definitely reminded me of my trip to Marrakesh. And to be honest, I'm not even sure if this fragrance is inspired by a destination as well, but all I can say is that it definitely transported me to that time when we were having drinks at a rooftop bar watching the sunset in Marrakesh. I truly enjoyed this fragrance. However, I feel like this will shine more during summertime. So even though I'm really liking it a lot now, I think I'm gonna take this one out more in the summertime. Plus, guys, the projection is amazing. I will say amongst all the perfumes that I have in today's video, Ambert Sunset is the one that projected the most. I'm wearing it now, and I feel like I oversprayed because it is that strong, and I'm actually liking it. It is because I love amber in fragrances, okay? And this is the kind of amber that is more of like golden. So yeah, having said that, more summery feel, not really the resinous type of amber. And yeah, I just find this fragrance quite unique as well. So I'm very happy to have Ambert Sunset in my collection. By the way, I received like their discovery kit, and most of them are really good. So I think I'll be talk about them a lot more in my future videos. Yeah, but for now, guys, highly recommend Ambert Sunset. This is truly a beautiful golden amber lipsticky floral scent that I think is very feminine. To me, this is giving luxury vibes as well. Once again, Ambert Sunset by Library, and I find this fragrance feminine living. All right, and last but not the least is a Middle Eastern perfume. This is how the bottle looks like. You can actually play with it, but I'm afraid that it's gonna fall once again. This perfume, by the way, is called Falak, and this is by Nusuk. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I bought this fragrance because I saw that people are comparing it with Escapade Gourmand by Maison Mataha, which I own, okay? So having said that, this fragrance is a vanilla scent. Let me read you the notes, by the way. It has brown sugar, caramel, biscuit, vanilla, toffee, amber, praline, and white musk. Basically, yeah, that is what I'm smelling out of this fragrance. This is quite a straightforward scent, very linear, just like Escapade Gourmand, but I think it is very impactful, especially if you are a vanilla girly. Now, scent-wise, I'll say that this is beautiful. This is a sweet gourmand. You can expect really like brown sugar, caramel, praline, white musk. and toffee. I think this fragrance will shine now that it's winter time. And yeah, as mentioned, if you are a vanilla girly, this is a sure win for you. Now, this is a sweet kind of vanilla, okay? So just keep that in mind. So yeah, having said that, quite gourmand, but not really like food. To me, this is more of like a slightly toasted brown sugar and caramel. Sweet, yet not too much. I love the fact that it is airy, and I have compared them side by side, okay? And the difference that I notice is that with Falak, I think the brown sugar is more prominent. So if that idea sounds interesting to you, then of course, definitely get Falak. Both of them are straightforward, sweet, vanilla, brown sugar, and praline scent. And I find them very similar. It is a kind of dupe that I will recommend. I would say the similarity is around 90%. It's a well done vanilla. No screechiness from beginning until the end. So yeah, having said that, good job, Nusuk. Now, when it comes to performance, on me, Falak is moderate. It's not really beastly. However, guys, I know a lot of people are saying that Escapade Gourmand is beastly on them. On me, this is moderate too. Like nothing special about the performance. But with the price, guys, I think that this is a good buy, especially if you are looking for like a good, sweet, kind of like caramelized kind of vanilla. And yeah, that is my thought about Falak. Very straightforward, likable, sweet vanilla scent that I find feminine leaning. So that is the video for today, guys. Those are the new perfumes in my collection that I think are fantastic. Now, let me know if you've tried any of these fragrances, and let me know as well if I made you interested about them. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, guys, and see you on my next one. Bye!